You feel it before you even know what's wrong. A knot, a flutter, a drop in your stomach that arises before the bad news does. You've been told your whole life that your brain is in charge, that every decision, every feeling, every signal in your body flows downward from that 3-pound organ inside your skull. But what if that's not quite right? What if there's another brain, one that's older, more instinctive, and in many ways more powerful, sitting right in your gut? This isn't a metaphor, and it isn't New Age wellness talk. It's neuroscience. Your gut contains approximately 500 million neurons. That's more than your spinal cord, more than any other organ in your body outside of your brain. Scientists call it the enteric nervous system. And for the last 2 decades, researchers have been quietly uncovering something that changes everything you think you know about how your body and your mind actually works. Your gut doesn't just digest food. It thinks. It remembers. It communicates. And most of the time, it's not listening to your brain at all. Here's the part nobody tells you. The vagus nerve, the main communication highway between your gut and your brain, carries information in 2 directions. But 80 to 90% of the signals traveling along that nerve are moving upward, from your gut to your brain, not the other way around. Your brain is mostly receiving. Your gut is mostly sending. Let that land for a second. The organ you've been ignoring since you were old enough to be told to stop listening to your stomach is, by almost every measurable metric, running the conversation. Michael Gershon, a professor of pathology at Columbia University, was one of the first scientists to seriously map this system. He spent decades studying the enteric nervous system and eventually published a book called The Second Brain in 1998. At the time, most of the medical establishment thought he was exaggerating. Now, his core findings are taught in medical schools around the world. The gut is not a passive tube. It is an active, autonomous neural network capable of functioning entirely on its own, even when severed from the brain completely. But what is it actually doing up there? Start with serotonin. You've probably heard of it as the happiness chemical, the neurotransmitter your antidepressants are designed to regulate. What most people don't know is that roughly 90 to 95% of your body's serotonin is produced in your gut, not your brain, your gut. The cells lining your intestinal wall manufacture it, store it, and use it to coordinate the movement of food through your digestive system. But it doesn't stop there. That gut-produced serotonin influences your mood, your sleep, your appetite, and your ability to learn. When your gut is under stress, serotonin production shifts. When your microbiome, the trillions of bacteria living inside your intestines, is disrupted, serotonin levels change. And when serotonin changes, your emotional state follows. Not because something happened in your head, because something happened in your gut first. This is where it gets stranger. Your gut bacteria, and there are somewhere between 38 and 100 trillion of them, outnumbering your own human cells, are not passive passengers. They are active participants in your mental life. A 2019 study published in the journal Nature Microbiology, led by researchers at Ghent University in Belgium, analyzed the gut microbiomes of more than 1,000 people and cross-referenced the data with their mental health records. 2 specific bacteria, Coprococcus and Dialister, were consistently depleted in people diagnosed with depression, even after controlling for antidepressant use. People with higher levels of these bacteria reported better quality of life and more positive emotional states. Your bacteria are talking to your brain, and your brain is listening. John Cryan, a neuroscientist at University College Cork in Ireland, has spent years mapping the mechanisms behind this conversation. His research shows that gut microbes produce dozens of neuroactive compounds, including GABA, dopamine precursors, and short-chain fatty acids, that travel through the bloodstream, across the blood-brain barrier, and directly influence brain function. The bacteria in your gut are not just digesting your food. They are shaping your thoughts, your anxiety levels, your stress response, and possibly even your personality. Here is the counterintuitive twist. Stress doesn't just affect your gut. Your gut affects your stress. When your nervous system perceives a threat, real or imagined, your gut bacteria population shifts within hours. The diversity of your microbiome drops. Certain protective strains disappear. And this shift creates a feedback loop that makes your brain more reactive, more anxious, more primed to see threats that may not even be there. Your gut isn't just responding to your stress. It is amplifying it, or in a healthy state, dampening it. This is why trauma often lives in the body long after the mind has tried to move on. Studies on people with post-traumatic stress disorder consistently show altered gut microbiome composition. Researchers like Li Jingjing at Fudan University in Shanghai have found that gut microbial transplants in animal models can actually transfer anxiety-like behavior from stressed animals to unstressed ones. The gut carries the emotional memory even when the brain cannot access it consciously. Your gut remembers what you've been through. So what does this mean for the way you live right now? Every meal you eat is information, not just calories, not just macronutrients. Information that your gut reads, translates, and broadcasts to your brain. Ultra-processed foods don't just slow your digestion. They alter your microbial population within days, reducing the diversity that your enteric nervous system depends on to function clearly. Fermented foods, yogurt, kimchi, kefir, sauerkraut, do the opposite. A landmark Stanford University study published in Cell in 2021 found that a high fermented food diet increased microbiome diversity and decreased 19 inflammatory proteins in the bloodstream, including one linked to rheumatoid arthritis, type 2 diabetes, and chronic stress. Your breakfast is a brain intervention. You just didn't know it. The gut-brain connection also explains something you felt your entire life, but may never have had language for. The feeling in your stomach before a job interview. The nausea that arrives before a difficult conversation. The sudden calm that settles after a long, quiet meal. That isn't weakness. That isn't irrationality. That is your enteric nervous system doing exactly what it was designed to do. Reading your environment, assessing threat levels, and sending its conclusions upward to be processed. Your gut is not reacting to your emotions. Your emotions are, in significant part, the product of what your gut is telling your brain. This changes the conversation about mental health in ways the medical community is only beginning to grapple with. If depression, anxiety, and stress are partly functions of gut microbiome composition, if the bacteria in your intestines are producing the very chemicals your brain uses to regulate mood, then treating the mind without treating the gut is like fixing half an equation and expecting a complete answer. Researchers are already exploring psychobiotics, probiotics specifically selected for their neuroactive properties. Early clinical trials are showing measurable reductions in anxiety and depression scores in participants who take targeted probiotic strains compared to placebo groups. This field is young, the research is preliminary, but the direction is undeniable. The future of mental health may not be found entirely in the brain. So the next time you feel that knot, that flutter, that drop before the news arrives, don't dismiss it. Don't override it. Don't tell yourself your stomach is just being irrational. What you're feeling is your second brain, a system with 500 million neurons, a direct line to your emotions, and a memory older than language, doing exactly what it's always done. It's thinking for you. And it started the moment you took your first bite this morning.